Today, Bungie has responded to a lot of feedback coming through since Lightfall's launch, and I'm going to talk about it and then respond to it, sort of like a reaction video to a reaction video to a reaction video. Note that a decent amount of the things in this article were basically patch notes already or have been mentioned already in some capacity. Also, I give my thoughts as I go this time as opposed to the usual notes then thoughts. Sorry about that. Something I do want to note, as Bungie also says at the beginning of this post, is that Destiny 2 had its highest concurrent player count in years with Lightfall. If you go to steamcharts.com, you can confirm this for yourself. The last time we had player counts this high was back in the Shadowkeep days when the game went free to play, so there was just a lot of people trying the game out. We are at peak player counts, at least on Steam, but I assume this translates over to console as well. So if anyone wants to try to tell you, dead game, you can very much assure them, no, a live game. With regards to the story, Bungie notes that they recognize that they, quote, didn't provide the full clarity we originally planned for when we set out creating Lightfall, end quote, and that they're using that feedback to, you know, make things better. At this point, I think that's all we can really ask. What's done is done. There's not much use continuing to harp on it. Bungie has heard the feedback, and hopefully they can improve for the year. I know the situation of learning about what's actually going on in Lightfall in season content going forward wasn't exactly what people had in mind for the campaign, but I think as story elements get revealed, we'll at least have a little bit of fun with it. Their first gameplay notes are on Guardian ranks. Bungie has already made a lot of changes when it comes to Guardian ranks, mainly in the form of commendation score, although I just saw that rank 10 requires people to get 85 exotic weapons. Look, I'm an elitist, but wow, 85, okay. Quote, Guardian ranks should be a useful guide season over season, which means they should reflect the most recent content in the game, end quote. Totally fair. I don't think there's a ton wrong with the sentiment that if you haven't played the new stuff, you're not technically the most up-to-date Guardian. But missing out on one season doesn't mean you should be flung back to rank 6. Starting next season, the rank that is displayed will be the highest rank that you got in the previous season. If you surpass that rank in the current season, your number will change to the higher number. So let's say I only hit rank 10 this season, season 20, because of a horrific mousepad accident. In season 21, my rank will display as rank 10. But if I hit rank 11 within season 21, my rank will be pushed higher within the same season. And in season 22, because I hit 11 in season 21, my rank will display as rank 11. So this is sort of along the lines of the decay-based system I advocated for in my Guardian rank critique video. You get to keep your rank for a season, and only in the season after that will you experience any decay backwards. Solid adjustment here. I don't have much of an issue with this. I think a lot of people were going to be annoyed that they were time-gated behind waiting for GMs to come out to hit rank 11 again, but now you'll already display that you are a rank 11 from the previous season, or like whatever rank. So you're technically just preparing your rank for next season. As we discussed, the requirements that you need to repeat season over season for your rank are not that bad at all. With the repeatable stuff being like, do the story content, and get levels, and get commendations, which Bungie have already reduced dramatically. And don't forget that a percentage of your commendation score carries over from season to season. It's all stuff active players are going to do anyway, and even though it is technically time-gated, your current rank will still be your previous season's high, so even if you fall behind, you can still catch up within the season. Bungie is also adding a UI element that shows the progress you made in each season for you to just kind of keep track. Okay, yeah, pretty fine with this response. Let's move on. Bungie is addressing the Forever 6 issue by shifting some goals around. They moved Lost Sector Flawless up a rank. They reduced commendation score requirements. In the long term, returning players are going to start at rank 5, but going from 5 to 7 will be faster than it was to go from 6 to 7 at launch. Again, those repeatables are play the story, get artifact power, do seasonal challenges, and play with the new exotic. Not really the biggest ask of players. Bungie is also going to do some rank 6 through 11 adjustments at some point. In terms of commendations, again, Bungie has already reduced requirements across the board. 2 new things that they're doing. They're updating eligibility for commendations based on activity participation or lack thereof. And they're adding a new commendation, which I think a lot of people are going to be happy about, best dressed. So you can now commend people for fashion. I know a big chunk of people wanted that. In Season 21, leadership commendations in rank 10 and 11 will be retroactive for the season, so you won't need to rerun a bunch of raids and dungeons to get all that progress back. Good change, thank you. With regards to the difficulty stuff, they rehash some notes previously mentioned, like Legend and Master HP values on enemies going down, although not in Legendary Campaign apparently, and Avalon getting its HP nerfed as well on Legend. Bungie feels that incoming damage to players is in a great spot in Legend and Master content, and I don't have that much of a counter to that. I think things feel pretty okay there. A complete lack of any comment on the raid is quite disappointing, and simultaneously comes through crystal clear given how detailed this breakdown is. Heist battlegrounds on Legend and Master, aka the Nightfall, are getting nerfed. On Mars, they're reducing the amount of waves of enemy spawns during towers. They're increasing the map score multiplier to assist in hitting score goals without exploits, which is something they need to do for not just battlegrounds, and they do acknowledge that, and adding another ammo crate. In other heists, they're reducing the frequency and number of enemies in an enemy wave during boss fights and reducing the health of the Death Tongues, to name some of the biggest changes. I'm actually a bit bummed about this, as I quite liked the intensity of the Mars Battleground when I played it. It's just played so much different to a typical Nightfall, but now it sounds like it's going to be more in line with current strikes, which is fine. More people are going to like this change than not like it, so I am not going to bother. Neomuna Patrol. Bungie wanted Neomuna to feel much more dangerous than a typical patrol experience. Quote, "In some ways, it should feel unsafe and oppressive. We understand that's somewhat of a shock to many players." End quote. Bungie is happy with how it plays, as it encourages team play and build crafting in ways that a patrol usually doesn't. But they're still making some adjustments. More Vex Strike Force spawns, which is probably for the best. Partition is now replayable after getting your pinnacle. Reduce the rate that red bars are replaced by orange bar enemies, and reduce the spawn rate of turrets, specifically in Ahimsa Park. In a future patch, certain patrol missions are going to be easier to do. Mostly okay with this stuff, but again, my question is, why are the enemies in the raid so much easier to kill than stuff on Neomuna Patrol? Where is this complete swing in lack of difficulty coming from? Why do I feel more uneasy on Neomuna Patrol than in the raid? You know, where Nezarek is. I don't know where this disconnect is coming from. Otherwise, I'm okay with these notes. Terminal Overload should now hopefully more reliably matchmake you with other people participating in the event. That's good. Lost Sectors. Oh boy, here we go. What are they going to do to these things? Quote, "While we understand the initial frustration of being underleveled early in Season 20 to take on Lost Sectors, we believe the activity levels are appropriate as endgame content for the seasonal ebb and flow, while acknowledging they require a full power climb with the release of Lightfall to reasonably attempt." End quote. Wow. Thank you. Oh my God. Thank you for saying it straight from the horse's mouth, y'all. I have been doing some viewer gameplay reviews, and the number one thing that I have been saying when looking at people's footage is, I think a lot of people are going to struggle much, much less once they have a few more levels under their belt. My feeling of people who are going into Lost Sectors and complaining about their difficulty, detach loot from this for a moment, is that the people complaining simply do not have enough levels under their belt to make it a smooth experience. If you are struggling in Lost Sectors, use that time to grab some pinnacles if you can, grind some artifact power. It is amazing what even a couple of levels can do. But if you're below 1810 and hopping into Legend Lost Sectors, you need to accept that you are going to have a tougher time completing it. Bungie is not planning on making any changes to difficulty other than the 10% HP thing that they did, but they are updating exotic acquisition, so don't get it twisted just yet. Threshers. Bungie just reiterates that they indeed nerfed them. They don't deal as much damage, but that doesn't mean they aren't lethal and can just be completely ignored now. You still need to be aware of them and or take the time and or ammo to destroy them. Vanguard scoring. Those of you trying to chase 200k in a single Nightfall for either getting your pinnacle or getting the Guardian rank objective done have probably seen that it is very tough to do without exploiting certain mechanics like revive spamming, or maybe it's just downright impossible like in Lake of Shadows due to lack of enemies or score multiplier. Bungie plans on doing a review of scoring over the entire season and will be making some adjustments. In my opinion, it should be possible to hit 200k in a given week with a high level of play. You're making a lot of orbs, you're getting a lot of precision kills. Like, those things should matter. I don't mind things being close, but having to farm revive points is stupid. We all know this. Exotic armor drop rates. Here we go. Bungie recognizes the issues with Lost Sector exotics. They've put a lot of pressure on Lost Sectors as a source of exotics, and for new players, their acquisition is pretty tough. And they also agree that their utility for targeting specific drops has been getting less reliable as they continue to add more exotics each season. Okay, cool. We're on the same page. What are you doing about that? Well, they just restate the changes that they made to drop rates, which community data has said is about 1 in 4 chance for an exotic on Legend and 1 in 3 on Master. They go on to say that they're hesitant in raising drop rates right now because as more and more people hit the proper levels to grind these more efficiently, you're going to be getting more drops as a result, especially since there's no increase in the level cap in Season 21. When people are at higher levels, they are going to reevaluate. So I know this paragraph just read as, cool, they're doing nothing, awesome. But Bungie kind of buried the lead on this one, and we'll talk about something you'll probably like, in theory, a bit more to make up for this. However, some silver linings. Vex Strike Force will drop a new piece of exotic armor if you have any left to collect on a knockout list with no slot limits like Lost Sectors do, but if you have nothing new to collect, you'll continue to get something random. This right here is a very good change. Now let's talk about what's coming in Season 21. Bungie is adding 2 new mods in response to feedback from Lightfall's revamped mod system. They are adding Powerful Attraction and Elemental Charges. Powerful Attraction is where, when using your class ability, you pick up all orbs of power within a radius determined by the number of copies that you are using. This feels like a replacement for Seeking Wells from seasons prior, where elemental wells would track towards you once you were within a certain range of them. Bungie wanted to provide some way for people to collect orbs of power without needing to get right in the middle of all the action, since so many orbs are usually in the middle of tons of enemies. Elemental Charges is essentially a Season 20 season perk where fire sprites give you armor charge, but in a more permanent state, although a bit weaker. Collecting the subclass collectible associated with your damage type, like fire sprites, ionic traces, shards, breaches, has an escalating chance to grant you a stack of armor charge. On Strand, this is granted by destroying tangles. The frequency at which you get armor charge is tuned based on how hard it is to generate the collectible. So the easier it is to make one, the less often you're going to get armor charge. Definitely want to see if this has an impact in Season 21 builds. Right now, I'm hesitant to say it'll be good, but, you know, I've been surprised before. Shoot to Loot will also be able to target orbs of power in Season 21, with technical limitations preventing Bungie from enabling the collection of subclass collectibles at this time. I hope Bungie continues to create new mods to patch some of the holes that the new system created. This is a good first step, but I think people want to see some of those hyper-specialized mods back in the game, so I hope they can come up with stuff to reintegrate those kinds of mods. Good start, though. Artifact Perk refunds. In Season 21, Bungie is adding the ability to refund and apply individual artifact perks with a single click. No more resetting the whole thing just to change one perk. Amazing fix. Thank you so much. It was not in the game earlier due to a technical limitation. I fear to see what speedrunners and solo boss killers come up with now that this limitation will no longer be as big of a factor. The seasonal ritual schedule. Trials will be available in week 1 of Season 21, and GMs will be available in week 4. But this is only the weekly Grandmaster. The Conqueror Gilding node will still go live on week 7. Not really sure why they didn't say they wouldn't link them up. Both of these changes are happening regardless because there's no power grind in Season 21, or rather no increase in max gear level is happening. Okay, so let's go back to the whole exotic Lost Sector drop situation. They aren't doing much there, at least right now anyway. But what they are doing is exotic armor focusing. This will be deployed in Season 21. Going forward, exotic engrams, aside from drops from activities that reward exotics like Lost Sectors, Vex Strike, Nightfalls, no longer automatically decrypt and will instead sit in your inventory. You can still crack them open at Rahul for free, but you can also focus them at 2 tiers, Advanced or Precision. Advanced is you just pick an expansion era and you roll the dice for 1 exotic engram, 1 Ascendant Shard, and 30,000 Glimmer. Precision lets you directly focus the piece of armor that you want, but it costs 3 shards and an exotic cipher on top of the engram and the glimmer, with Bungie planning on raising the limit of exotic ciphers from 1 to 5. You also can't get new exotics using this method. They need to be unlocked first before you can focus them. So, okay. So the system in place is like pretty good. Like the concept is good. But the amount of times you can focus your armor seems very restrictive. You only get ciphers from Xur once a week or from the season pass once. So unless Bungie puts more methods of getting ciphers in the game, we are limited to 13 exotic rerolls over the course of a season, which is slightly more than 1 per week, but let's just call it 1 per week. I don't know if Bungie is intentionally trying to keep things limited or if this is just a way of testing the waters, but my this isn't even out yet feedback is, this seems restrictive. Like too restrictive without knowing more. Also, how often are people really getting random exotic engrams to drop from the ground? Like, it's pretty rare. Now, you could also grab one from the rep track from a vendor, I assume anyway, and that's how I imagine Bungie thinks people are going to get most of their engrams, but I'm definitely not resetting my rep once a week, nor am I really seeing exotic engrams drop that often. So, yeah, a bit underwhelmed here with the rate at which I will be able to do this thing. You know, I'm hoping to see some more integrations with Lost Sectors over the year or something like that. But the whole point of the request for more specific farming was so that we could do it, you know, a lot. Not like once a week. Yeah, we'll see what this goes. Better than nothing for sure. But, yeah, it feels very restrictive at the moment. That's all from me. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.